Hello again, thank you for joining me for another video. So I have kind of a lot of stuff on my mind right now. It's been an interesting week. Trying to find a place to land here to share what kind of downloads I've been getting. And see if they can be of any use to you. I've had this strange experience of my connection to God being the thing that cost me any worldly comforts. It got set up in this strange dichotomy where you can have one or the other. Now, I realize other people are have the appearance of that not being true, but for me it was really cut and dry, one or the other. Every time I was I'd get a job, it'd be going really well. Something would happen where I couldn't be there anymore. I was always meant to have a path that was weird, and there was no place for that, as I was going through it. So, people now, they get online and they can read tarot, they can, deliver messages, very astute messages that can reach 20 million people. Those 20 million people all needed to hear the exact same thing. But when I was coming up, you could put an advertisement in these health co-op magazines or newspapers, which is basically just this whole newspaper full of advertisements. You could put a little flyer at the co-op, but there wasn't like crystal shops everywhere. There wasn't this whole online community surrounding it. And you were a quack, kind of. You were like rejected in a manner of speaking if you went too deep into some of the fringe topics, right? There wasn't like white girl shamans. There wasn't like galactic priestesses, right? Like that wasn't like a thing 30 years ago. So now people can do it for a living, and pay their bills by doing that without a whole lot of effort, frankly. And even the highest kind of levels of new thought regarding consciousness and its impact on the so-called material reality, those things are being written now by academics. Fringe topics that wouldn't be touched 15 years ago are now being funneled through academics. And while it will probably have a net positive impact on humanity's future, I wonder about all of the people we are leaving behind. I don't know how to say it, I guess. It's like everybody who is destitute is assumed to be destitute because they made choices that negated their own well-being. But you also end up destitute if you make choices that are entirely motivated to be on the fringe of society. Like, how would anyone embrace a concept of, like you think of the yogis or the shamans or the medicine people who live on the fringe of their tribe's society, cultures, in order to pay attention to the metaphysical forces, this larger field of like consciousness, right? That was a normal thing to have some set aside. Some people were set aside and reserved. And they were taken care of because there was a logical understanding of why those people were there, what they were doing, and that you couldn't do both at the same time. So in order to get a good view of the collective interactions, you had to be removed. Otherwise, you would be meeting your own agenda. If you want to be far enough out of town to defend, to have any chance of defending before danger came to the rest. And the same is true of like mental spaces, astral spaces. Like, you have to get out of the social construct enough to view the larger systems and their place in time. And you can't do both at the same time successfully. So those people were taken care of. And you don't know where those people are right now. I know you don't know where those people are right now because I don't know where those people are right now. I know I met a few when I was homeless. I know I met a few. And this culture, American culture, Western culture, does not have a good means for the truly dedicated spiritual people to have a place. I know when I was growing up and I thought about being a pastor, before, I ended up having relationship issues that were incompatible with being a pastor. What it looked like was you had to read other people's interpretations of the text and then deliver that theology. And it's the way all information comes in, right? Somebody decides somewhere, humans have decided this is the truth that we're passing, and it just kind of goes. And the information that you get when you decide to receive from the totality, from God, without an agenda, or an agenda that is simplified to survival of some kind, or a future that is, expanded in a very particular way. So you have recursive thought, recursive training, recursive information, and you have, how do you get the new? In a certain sense, you have to reject that recursive. You have to open the framework for new information. And unfortunately, we don't have a method for that right now to make sure that those people can do that without becoming impoverished and unfindable. Because all of the methods for information delivery right now are part of this recursive network that feeds itself and does not allow for change. And probably not saying that as delineated as I should, but it's a problem I've been thinking about. I don't know how to resolve the Western paradox here, where we have the greatest potential, like literally potential, as you understand the word potential, but we lack the meaning, the upgrade in meaning, because it's being channeled through these forms of that will self-preserve. I don't know how to say that a less silly way. I'm saying it in a silly way. How do I say that? Plain. You're killing your fucking profits. Because you have confused prophesy with the method, I guess. And there's something there, like, I think about, I wish I had a better way to explain this, where my heart is, and what I'm hanging on to for dear life, like this strange life I've had. And I think it's important, and I wish that I could tell people, like, lives don't do this weird thing that my life did. Something intervened. You know, when he was in the Matrix movie, right? And they were going, and then the black cat goes twice, and he's like, glitch. Or deja vu, that's what he says. And they're all like, wait, what? Like, I feel like sometimes you have to convey these weird Mandela effects that show up in your life because they point to something. And to have a bunch of these weird Mandela effects that showed up in my life, getting, tricked when I was a kid, and getting saved, falling off the cliff. I mean, over and over and over again, these weird interactions with the spirit realm that is barely defined. It's like, now I feel like a some sort of weird fusion with the simulation, and it's like its last gasp, right? The last gasp before you let it go, or it lets you go, as it uses you to upgrade itself. It's like probably the most important thing, and I don't know how to explain it to people. And the way that it is getting explained is missing important points. The reason why you create your reality. So I'm going to leave it there because I realize I just send a bunch of stuff that only 2 people are going to actually connect the dots to. I would encourage you to start having a little discernment about the value of life. So you put your line in the sand about that.